Hello, good morning and welcome all the teachers, students. And it's been a wonderful occasion yet again for us to talk to you on the orientation of SSC 2023 English examination paper. It's a wonderful journey, in fact, because you people must have been doing excellently and you've been working a lot because some teams are into the field and the field results are very good. The teachers and students are working a lot and they are very positive mood and really again to support you once again. And we have come here in terms of the giving orientation on the examination paper once again. I think on this orientation is going to be useful for you, and if you have some doubts, I think this is a 1.5 hour session, so that after 11 o'clock and you're going to have open, a number is given and you can interact with us. You can have your own queries and talk to us and directly, so that you can resolve your problems. Thank you very much once again, my dear friends. And as a part of the series of this orientation programs, and this is the second one, and we are coming with, and on the panel with me, and to my left, Raghuram, and who is very experienced teacher and who has been doing a lot on this area, and I think and his interpretations regarding this and his ideas and his experience is going to share with you. And again, you can ask some questions also to resolve yourself any problems are there to address. And again, left to Raghuram and Irshad Ali, who's Telangana model school teacher and from Jagityal district. He's very experienced and promising teacher with us. And I think his contribution is going to be very, very useful to this session. And left to Irshad Vasavi, and she's from SCERT, who's my colleague, and who has been doing on this particular area for the last few years. And I think these three panelists are going to sensitize you, make you, and to face the very prudent and to face this examination. Hope authorities, Secretary Garu, Director Garu and SCERT Director also are really eagerly waiting for your work that you have been doing and put in. Teachers, headmasters, and especially students, and with very positive mood. Things are happening across Telangana, a really wonderful thing. And now to begin with it again, and you know that we have the three major areas where we to address upon in terms of understanding the language and at the same time to face the examination. You know that first is a reading comprehension. It's a very, very important thing. And after that, we are going to address this grammar and awareness, and after that, the creative expression. These three areas where we need to go and we need to understand and how the scheme of examination and what is the blueprint again. You need to have an idea over it, and it was discussed previously, but this is again we need to discuss it because you are going to face pre-final exam from 15th onwards. I think when you are going to face pre-final examinations, you should not have any doubt at all. Okay, my dear teachers and my dear students, and try to understand, make use of this session. Fruitfully it's going to be, and make yourself ready to understand this. To begin with, and once again to reorient upon the scheme of examination and of course the blueprint, the allotment of the marks, and you need to have this idea over it. So I request Raghuram to discuss upon this to begin with. Over to you, Raghuram.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers. Hope you are all doing well at your respective places. And we all know that this time we have one question paper with part A and part B. And the broad areas just Mangareddy has discussed. Three broad areas: reading comprehension, grammar and vocabulary, and creative writing. So prior to COVID, we used to have two papers, 13E and 14E, and from this year onwards, I believe we are going to have just one paper in all subjects and particularly in English. So what is the scheme? Part A carries 60 marks, whereas Part B carries 20 marks. And let us see how these marks are distributed among the academic standards. I request you to have a look at the slide. So this is the broad area. Under reading comprehension, we have a passage from textbook reading A, and which is followed by 4 questions, and each question carries 3 marks. And the second slot, the input will be from reading passage either B or C, which is again followed by 4 questions, and each question carries 3 marks. And question number 9 to 12, and this is a bit new one, and reading a picture or interpreting tables or non-linguistic presentations, and it is followed by 4 questions, and each question carries 2 marks. And in part B, it could be an independent poem or a passage, and which is followed by 5 multiple choice questions. So if you see, the weightage for reading comprehension is 37 marks. Coming to creative writing, and we have a major discourse. There will be internal choice between group A and group B. We all know that major discourses under group A are description, narrative, play script, choreography, interview. And then we have 6 actually. And in group B, biographical sketch, speech, essay, report and letter. So there will be internal choice, and you have to answer only one. It carries 10 marks. And minor discourses, 1 from group A and 1 from group B. So minor discourses under group A are message, notice and diary entry, and under group B are poster, invitation and profile. So we have to answer. So if you see, 1 major discourse and 2 minor discourses, in total 20 marks. So the weightage for creative writing is 20 marks. Coming back to grammar and vocabulary, and there will be editing from textbook, maybe reading A, B or C, which is followed by 5 short answer questions, and the transformation of sentences will find, and it is under question number 13, and you have to answer 4 with each we have to answer 4, and each one carries 2 marks. So in total it is considered a single test item, so 8 marks. And a closed test, which is textbook independent, it has 5 MCQ questions and elements of vocabulary, 5 short answer questions. So this category, grammar and vocabulary, has the weightage of 23 marks. So in total you can say 37 plus 20 plus 23, 80 marks. Now let us see how the questions are distributed. So here, question number 1 to 4, we have already stated it is from reading comprehension A and short answer type, and you will have 4 questions and each question carries 3 marks, so 12 marks. In the same way, question number 5 to 8 from reading passage B or C, and it is followed by 4 questions, short answer type questions, and each question carries 3 marks, so 12 marks. And question number 9 to 12, study skills or interpreting the tables or graphs. So it is from it is textbook independent, and it has 4 questions and each question carries 2 marks, so 8 marks. And question number 13, grammar and vocabulary, transformation of sentences, and it is textbook independent input is given, and you have to answer 4 out of 6. So for this the weightage is 8 marks. And question number 14, creative writing, a major discourse with internal choice, and you have to answer 1 out of 2, 10 marks. And the creative writing, question number 15, creative writing, minor discourse, message, notice or diary entry, you have to answer 1 and 5 marks. And question number 16, creative writing, minor discourse from group B, poster, invitation or profile, you have to answer 1. So this is the layout of part A, which carries 60 marks. Coming back to part B, question number 17 to 21 based on an independent passage or a poem, which is followed by 5 MCQs, and each question carries 5 marks. So each question carries 1 mark, so 5 marks. And the question number 22 to 26 grammar and vocabulary, a textbook based passage will be given, and the short answer type you have to answer them, and each question carries 1 mark, again 5 marks. And again question number 27 to 31, a closed test, textbook independent, it is followed by 5 MCQs, and each question carries 1 mark, so 5 marks. And question number 32 to 36, elements of vocabulary, it is from textbook, and you have to answer, it is in objective mode, so each question carries 1 mark, in total 5 questions, 5 marks. So part A 60 marks and part B 20 marks, the weightage is total 80. And again, at the time of examination, part A and part B are given together at a time, because in part B there are no discrete elements. It is just like working with a text. That's very important.
Yeah,
so to answer the questions related to a poem or even editing, and every time every test item is contextualized. So in that case, keeping it in view, again we want to tell you again here, part A and part B are given together. Okay.
Yeah, thank you Raghuram for giving a bird eye view about the scheme and again allotment of the marks. And if you look at this, 37 marks are allotted to reading comprehension. It's a very, very important area to be tested, in fact, So my dear friends, this is a where, and we need to understand more with clarification, and 37 marks, almost 50%, because we have only 80 marks. So to discuss on this, reading comprehension area, is very important, and I request, and it is the questions 1 to 4 and the 5 to 8. And there are two divisions. We have 1 to 4 and 5 to 8, and A and B readings also to cover with, So I request Vasavi to discuss upon this, then the reading comprehension and how the things would go, and what is your preparatory kind of thing. And over to you, Vasavi.
As Raghuram sir already said, 1 to 4 questions under reading comprehension. We have 4 questions from reading A and 4 questions from reading B. So 1 to 4 questions will be from reading A. You can expect an input in the form of a passage or a paragraph, or if it is a play script is given, an extract from the text, and below it you will have 4 questions, 1 to 4. And similarly, in reading B, either a poem or a passage or from reading B or C will be given. And the questions asked in these two test items, 1 to 4 and 5 to 8, these will be mostly inferential or extrapolative questions. Factual questions will be there, but minimized. The number of factual questions is minimized.
But can you say a percentage, so that how many this factual questions, how many extrapolative? And,
yeah, I'll come to it.
Yeah.
Each question, as we know, each question carries 3 marks. So it will cover at least 5 to 6 points. The question will have the potential to cover 5 to 6 points. So 1 or 2 points may be covered in factual in factual question. That is, if a question and every question, most of the questions will have 2 sub questions. So one may be factual out of it. So who has done it and why he did it? For example, I am saying who has gone to so and so place and why, what he did there, or why he went there, why did he go there. In such questions, first part may be a factual, but it will be certainly followed by either inferential or extrapolative. So this is the general schema. It's not that it's a very like
the first question is a leading question, it seems,
Yeah, first question can be a leading question. It's but it's not a watertight compartment. Certain questions can be completely analytical or inferential.
Right. Okay.
So our aim is to minimize the simple reading of the text. Our aim is to trigger the thought process, and our aim is to test how well they are able to analyze, how well they are able to interpret a given situation. So in any given situation, what are the things we have to analyze? If we take an inferential question, can we go for next slide, sir? Yeah, for example, this is an extract from My Childhood, Abdul Kalam's autobiography. So you will be given a passage like this, and below it you will be given some questions like, why do you think 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗏 wives were horrified? What change did Kalam observe the next weekend? How did he feel? Once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. So when you observe this these questions, first one is completely inferential question. We in the text we only have the fact that 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗏 𝗚𝗏𝗧 wife was horrified. But why she was horrified? That is an interpretation you have to make based on the text. Similarly, when you observe the question number 2, what change did Kalam observe the next weekend? This is factual. This is leading one factual. This information will be there in the para. But how did he feel? It's not directly there in the question. It's not directly there in the passage. So you have to interpret. Similarly, when you look at question number 3, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. Explain. So, this is a quote, this is a dialogue directly taken from the text, and this is a quote by 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧. That much we will understand from the text. But what does he mean by that? What is the significance of that statement? That we have to interpret through a methodical analysis of the events happened before. So, if we go to next slide, we will just analyze this question a little more. See, I have taken this particular question as an example, so that we can see what are the steps we have to take in order to reach to the answer. The question is, as you can see, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted, explain. So, this is an inferential question, and we have to reach to the answer by analyzing what happened there, what are the events that led to made him say this sentence. So, to reach to the answer, we have to ask ourselves some sub questions for this purpose. Okay. Who is quoted here? To understand or to explain it in a sequential manner, this process should go either in our brain, or if you are not comfortable, you can even do a rough work. Who is quoted here? 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 is quoted here. This question will not appear in the paper. These are the sub questions you have to follow to reach to the answer to that inferential question. So, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 is quoted here.
Yes, sub questions means Vasavi, that students should ask themselves, to understand it.
Yes.
Yeah, that is, while reading,
Yeah.
these are the questions that should be keep in the mind, and they need to ask themselves.
Sir.
Okay, right.
Exactly, sir.
So, this is a very important area where the teacher should give direction to the students, how best to comprehend the thing, how a self-evaluated question should be asked themselves. This is a very important area to understand comprehensively that paragraph. This is a very good step, idea the Vasavi has given, and continue, Vasavi.
Yes, sir. So, to make a proper inference, we need to follow some clues, and for those clues, we need to follow these sub questions. These, if you are confident enough, this can be done in your brain or your mind.
Yes.
Or if you need support, you can just do some rough work. So, what system does he refer to? If you observe the question, if you want to change the system, so what system is referred here? It's caste religious discrimination is referred here. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 is against that system. So, who decides to change the system? Obviously, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, and he wants Kalam to help him changing the system. Why does he decide to change the system? So, he was against the social discrimination. Social discrimination is a social evil, religious or caste discrimination is a social evil. So, he, being a progressive thinker, he wants to change it. So, when you ask these sub questions, sir, please continue. Next slide. So, then how does he do it? Okay, he wants to change the system, but in this particular passage, how does he do it? In this particular event, how does he do it? So, he wants to change the system by inviting Kalam to his home for meals. But then he has a problem. He says we have to confront some problems. So, what is the problem here? His Orthodox wife refuses to serve food. So, why does he mention the problem now? Because when he invites Kalam next week, Kalam hesitates whether he should go or not.
Yeah.
So, for that, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 gives a measure or a solution or a course of action. He says that we cannot avoid problems. We have to confront them. We have to face them. So, when you have this line of thought, you can infer appropriately based on the facts given in the text. So, now when we connect all this, we will arrive at the answer. Sir, please, next slide. Now, we arrive at the answer by connecting all these points. Next slide. So, answer will somewhat look like this. It's not it's an open-ended question. So, this is one sample answer.
Yeah.
You can have many other types of answers, but whatever you answer, it should follow a particular sequence. It should have a logical argument or a logical line.
And sequencing.
A sequence. So, let us see this answer. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 was against social discrimination. One day he invited Kalam to his home for a meal, and there Kalam observed that 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧's Orthodox wife did not like a Muslim boy Kalam was a Muslim boy, eating in her kitchen. So next week when 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Iyer invited him again, Kalam hesitated. Then 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Iyer reassured him that such problems were expected as they were trying to bring a change in the system that discriminated people on the basis of caste and religion. He said such problems need to be confronted rather than avoided if they wanted a change in the system. So in order to come to this inference, you need such sub-questions. Right, sir. So what are the points we have to remember while writing an answer? Uniformity is to be maintained in the tense used. That is, one tense you should not write in present and next sentence in past, again in future. There should not be change in tense. Uniformity is to be maintained unless it is absolutely necessary, unless the words are directly quoted, and unless there is a need, there should not be a change in tense used.
Generally, which tense that we need to employ, you know,
it depends on the question. In this particular question, the event is in past.
Past, you know. Okay.
So past tense is used here. And the tense also, we can also decide the tense to be used in the answer by the tense used in the question.
Right.
We have to observe what tense is used in the question, and the same tense may be used in answer. Okay, there may be some exceptions. Then, sir, I didn't complete it. Yes. Then appropriate person gender markers are to be used. When you are referring to Kalam, you have to use he. Should not be confused with she. Similarly, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Iyer. And when you are referring to 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Iyer's wife, you have to use she. And such the person and gender markers are to be used. And if you are answering in third person singular, you have to continue in the same. Suddenly, you should not start writing I or we. And use she. These are the things that covered in that. Use she, he, she appropriately. And sometimes when you go, sir, can we go back to the answer once again? Sometimes using pronouns may lead to a bit confusion. So for clarity, repeating names may be necessary sometimes. See, when you observe the first sentence, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Iyer was against social discrimination. One day he, here there is no confusion, so we use the pronoun he. Invited Kalam to his home for a meal. And there Kalam observed that here we have two options. We can use his orthodox wife, but it will be a bit confusing. Whose orthodox wife? Whether we are saying Kalam's orthodox wife or 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 orthodox wife. So to give it a clarity, we mentioned 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Iyer's orthodox wife. Right. So these things have to be taken care of. Sir, continue. And now, as I told you before, there is the other type of question which is usually asked, that is extrapolative question. So far what we discussed is inferential question based on analysis of facts. Now in case of extrapolative questions, you have to relate your life experience to the situation, to the question asked, and you have to give out your opinions and your stance. Sir, yeah, are we able to see? Yeah. So let us see. Sir, question. Yeah. The question is, if you were Kalam, would you visit your teacher's house the next week? Justify. So now you have to place yourself in place of Kalam. You have faced such and such a discrimination. You went to your teacher's house. There you faced a bit discrimination, which was embarrassing both to you and your teacher. And now you have to decide. Next week your teacher has invited you again. So now you have to decide whether to go or not. In such extrapolative questions, whether you say yes or no, the answer is equally accepted and respected. The only thing you have to take care is your justification should be strong. And why you are saying yes or why you are saying no. That just as long as the justification is strong, your answer will be completely valid and respected. Next, we'll see an example. So answer number 1, when you say F, these are also only sample answers. You can have different arguments and different justifications. Yes, if I were Kalam, I would visit my teacher's house again, because I believe this is the justification we are giving. We need to try our best to oppose discrimination, even if it hurts us sometimes. So neatly we have given a justification why you would like to visit Kalam's your teacher's house again. And answer number 2, you can take a different stance also. No, I wouldn't visit my teacher's house the next week, because it's not my duty to change everyone in the society. My feelings are more important for me. I will not go to a place where I am not respected. If they are not ready to respect me, that is their problem. It's not my duty to change each and everyone, so I wouldn't visit my teacher's house. Both are right. Any stance you can take and both are valid. And you can have many other options apart from these two. These are only sample answers. Right, sir, thank you. This is what I want to say about reading.
That's good, 𝗬𝗧𝗦𝗔. It's very comprehensive presentation that you have made it, because as I was talking, this is a very important area where the more and more marks are there. And still, we have something else going to this reading comprehension again, which is going 9 to 12, and here the interpreting the diagrams, and it also comes under the reading comprehension. And for this, I request Irshad to have his observations on this and how this 9 to 12 questions are going to be addressed. Over to you, Irshad.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning once again to all the teacher fraternity and my beloved students. Welcome back to yet another exciting session of 10th class orientation. So we got another opportunity to go through the question paper and clear the air about few things. Now let me tell you, this time with the single paper we got a new topic introduced in our question paper, that is study skills. In other words, you can say this is already there in the text, but it has not been tested so far. So there is a chance wherein you can easily score 8 marks if you are little attentive. So we normally call as diagram interpretation or data interpretation through diagrams or non-verbal interpretation of the data. So let's see what are the different examples, and let's also go through few examples with questions. So let me take you through, first of all, which is common and which you have already seen in one of the examples model papers, a pie chart. So a pie chart is a circular representation wherein different parts, each part will have its own fraction as a whole. Let me take you through in one example. You can have a slide, please. Yeah, here is an example from 9 to 12. As we all said, this is nothing more than its comprehension. Once again, as just now Vasavi ma'am and sir suggested, again we are still into comprehension. You need to comprehend the pie chart. So here the first and foremost thing, the question will be in such a way, clearly mentioned. At times they may tell you, okay, that the pie chart given below provides information about students' reading interest in different genres of literature. Study the chart carefully and answer the following questions. So all the students, you need to study the chart. Fine. So the chart is a pie chart. Students' reading interest. So there are 4 parts, you can say. It's classified wherein stories, most of the students like stories 60%, and next to it novels read by the students, and then 15% poems, and then finally dramas 5% students. So you need to categorize. And let me tell you one more thing, remember that chart will be of 100%. okay, if you add all together it will be 100%. Now let's see a few examples. Fine. And remember, there will be different questions. One will be a kind of factual, in the same way just now ma'am explained you regarding different kinds of questions asked you. So let's see a few questions according to this according to this chart. So what does the pie chart show? How many genres are presented in the chart? Let me reiterate one thing to the teachers also and the students. This question carries 2 marks. So that's why we are expecting at least 2 things or 2 lines. So that's why 2 questions. Okay. So what does the pie chart show? If you go back, it will show your first line is your answer. It's quite easy. Let me tell you one more thing, children. These are the 8 marks there to be taken. If you lose, that means that will be really terrible. In other words, you can say you are playing in your backyard in home ground, but still you are losing. So that will be really horrible. I hope you don't do that.
You sure then there's again suggest
Yes.
the teachers also in
Yes.
this area where
Yes.
it can be scored, you know.
Absolutely, sir. That
Yeah.
is what, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what, you know, these are there to be taken as the first question most of the times will be a factual, in the sense you will have your answer in your question paper. What does the pie chart show? So it's quite easy. The pie chart given below, you need not to write given below, but the pie chart provides information about the students' reading interest in different genres of literature. Fine. So then how many genres are presented in the chart? How many you can easily see? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Different colors.
Different colors even. Hopefully in exam paper there might not be color, but still you can easily, shades will be there. Different shades will be there. We will have that example also.
Yeah.
So different shades will be there. So you need not to worry. You can easily find out the parts. That's quite easy. So 4 parts. So your answer could be, you know, 4. So this is how you can easily score 2 marks. Okay, you need to be little you know, attentive at that time. So next question is, which is the least preferred genre? Suggest 2 measures to develop interest among the students in that genre. First thing I would like to tell all the teachers and students, remember, even to the Telugu medium students, you need to know, even in the mathematics you might have done this, you know, data handling, so business mathematics. So previously, you know, everywhere you will have English. So that's why English plays a pivotal role in every subject. So you need to comprehend. If you understand these minute things, you can answer. Least chala takwa, most ekwa. Okay, these kind of things you need to know. And altogether means you have to add, addition. Difference means subtract, 𝗬𝗎. So these are the things you need to remember, because here the questions will be from second question onwards. There will be, you know, questions which test your you know, knowledge, and this is where you will comprehend. Okay, real comprehension is what is together you are getting, what is the difference between one and the other when you are comparing. So here the first question talks about which is the least preferred genre. So it's quite clear which is the least. Andarikana takwa unnadi dramas, 5%. So least. So 5% drama. So least preferred is drama. And then in that question only there is a question, suggest 2 measures to develop interest amongst the students in that genre. It's an open-ended kind of you know, extra where you can give your suggestions. So it's open. Somebody can give some suggestions. It could be, I can tell to improve that teacher, we need to participate in the role plays. That could be answer. Or some can write, you know, the more participation in the dramas, reading the dramas will help them, or having textbooks with more dramas. So different answers, you need to suggest 2 measures. Make sure that you write that. So one such kind of question will be there. Okay, so you need to understand that. And then next question will be, you know, 11th one. What is the percentage of drama, novels and poems made all together? So initially I told that you know, you have to keep that in mind. This is for 2 marks, but here it looks like one question, but 3 things you have to look into that. Those are drama, novels and poems all together. So that means you need to add here. So addition is very important. So simple addition, when you add you will get that. So drama is 5%, novel 20% and 15% is of poems. Even if you have general, because other one is story is 60. So if you take out 60 out of 100 you will get 40, or you can add 15 plus 5, 20 plus 20. So you write there and you can just 40% altogether. So that could be your answer, and that is your answer. Which genre do you prefer? Now here the last question will be a kind of open-ended again, okay, wherein you have to write in your words, express your feelings about that particular question. Okay, so you need to check it, that which genre do you prefer. Mention your favorite work in that genre. So it could be anything. My favorite genre is short stories. I can write After 20 Years is my favorite story which I have read recently. So you can write whichever story from your text or 9th class text which you really liked. So you have to keep that in mind. That is something, it's quite easy. I hope you will able to do that easily. So these 8 marks you can easily score. At the same time, let me take you through few other aspects of other diagrams. Here we will see that a bar graph. Let me here in the bar graph, the next question is on bar graph. Let me tell you, every time you might not be given the bar graph given, because there is a tendency that people will think the first answer, first line from the question. No, So at times the question could be in such a way, read the given diagram below and answer the question. So I request the teachers and students to know which sort of diagram it is. You need to know what sort of diagram it is, whether it's a pie chart will be circular, whether it's a bar graph, okay, bar graph is a bars, okay, horizontal, at times also it will be in vertical also. So and whether it's a tabular form, whether it's a flow chart, whether it's a tree diagram, you need to know these things. You need to know the name of the diagrams. Every time in the question you might not have the given pie chart or given bar graph as such. At times there is a chance, read the given diagram and answer the questions. So I request the teachers and students to understand this, to know the names of the particular diagrams, to interpret the data and also to comprehend the diagram. Let's see a few questions related to the bar diagram. So here is the, may I have the slide please? Fine. So this is the bar graph given below, which provides about performance of the details, information about the performance of the language development skills among students. Study the same and answer the following. So reading skills. So first of all you need to make sure what are the different bar here specified: reading skills and translation skills with black and horizontal lines, vocabulary skills, and finally writing skills, speaking skills, and grammar. Like that he has completely given. Now here you will compare and you will also check the data with other variable. So let's see the question first. So what is the bar graph is about? What skills have been discussed? So what is that the bar graph is about? As you have seen, you can check it out, and what skills been discussed: reading skills, translation skills, and also you have checked with I think vocabulary skills and also grammar, speaking skills all together at one place. So you have to mention that. Fine. So here remember that if you ask what are the skills, then you will write what are the skills. How many skills or how many categories are there, then you have to write the number. Remember that. In the question, read the question properly, what is the diagram is about or what is so and so is about, and then find out the next question. What are there, then you have to mention the names. How many, then you have to just mention, write the number of those parts.
Good. So I think you have done it,
Yeah, just 2 things.
Still, okay, yes. Right.
I'll just take them through the remaining all. So remaining questions will be like that.
Time
yes.
Constraint.
What are the other skills combined with? When combined, you have to add what are the 2 skills students performed almost the same. Again, almost means which is almost near. Okay, in which they performed better. So if you read that, you can easily get the answer. Which is your favorite skill as such? So and these at times bar graph will be horizontal way. Okay, you need not to worry. This is also a bar diagram. Histograms will be in their class interval will be there from 0 to 10. Okay, 10 to 15. This is also kind of a bar graph, but not bar graphs. These are histograms. So it's not that important, but just giving an idea. So here it's a flow chart. Flow wherein different steps will be there. You need to know what is the flow chart, what are the steps undergone and which step. And remember at times you need to know the vocabulary of last step, penultimate step. Penultimate, second last. So the question could be what is the penultimate step of paper production. So what happens before it. So I request you to understand these vocabulary, that will help, and there could be a question on true or false depending on that also. And let me take you through one last diagram, that is table. Yeah, the table given below. So I think before this, what sort of diagram given? See, here we did not mention in this tree diagram. It's actually a tree diagram. Study the given diagram below we mentioned, but we did not mention it's a tree diagram. So that's why students, you need to know what sort of diagram is asked over there. Every time you will not be given right away. So it will not be served to you in a plate. At times you need to go. So you have to answer those things. Likewise, a tree diagram, and at the same time a table is given. So table will also be asked. So you have to accordingly questions will be there. So those are the different aspects of data representation in the study skills. I hope you will do well, and you will get those 8 marks which really matters, and those are really easy if you are little attentive.
That's a good, Irshad. That is a very comprehensive kind of presentation that my dear teachers, and direct the students to go ahead. These are 8 marks are very important. It's a very beautiful chunk where we can rely upon. Now he has shown all the given the probable diagrams and interpretations. This is a very important area. It also comes under the reading comprehension, but it is something and very this creative thinking and how language is being thematically linked and works out here. So thank you very much, Irshad, once again for your preparatory kind of thing and presenting over here. And now, before going to do this, the 13th question, I request Raghuram, and who is very experienced and teacher, that just discuss something about these principles of evaluation, Raghuram, to begin with. And after that, I request you to talk about the 13th question. Over to you, Raghuram.
Right. Question number 1 to 12 is based on reading comprehension. This slot carries 32 marks.
Yeah, the very big chunk,
And most of us, even everyone is worried about the weightage. ఎందుకంటే క్వశ్చన్ నెంబర్ 1 నుంచి 8 వరకు ఒక్కొక్క ప్రశ్నకు 3 మార్క్స్ ఉంది వెయిటేజ్, అండ్ క్వశ్చన్ నెంబర్ 9 నుంచి 12 వరకు 2 మార్క్స్. సో ఇక్కడ చూసినప్పుడు మనము 12 + 12 + 8 32 మార్క్స్ వెయిటేజ్. సో హౌ టు స్కోర్ 3 marks or 2 marks for each question? The first thing is, and almost every question is open-ended, and you have to read the text and you have to make sense of it, you have to understand the question and you have to get the ideas and put the ideas together and link them up and come out with a good answer. So when you are answering these questions, the first and foremost is very, very important, which is contextual relevance. అంటే క్వశ్చన్ అడిగింది ఏమిటి, మనం ఎటువంటి ఆన్సర్ ఇవ్వాలి, చాలా చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అండి. So first, if you are able to understand the text, it is done. Good.
Yeah.
Next, if you have to understand the question, what is the question about and what answer does the question demand? సో అట్లా అర్థం చేసుకున్నప్పుడు మనకు క్వశ్చన్ నుంచి మనకు ఎలాంటి ఐడియాస్ రావాలి, వాటిని ఎలా, హౌ టు పుట్ ది ఐడియాస్ టుగెదర్. ద ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ ఈజ్ కాంటెక్స్చువల్ రిలవెన్స్. నెక్స్ట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఆన్సర్. ఓకే, చాలా మందికి ఒక డౌట్ కూడా ఉంది, వాట్ వుడ్ బి ద లెంత్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆన్సర్. సో యూ మే రైట్ ఇన్ 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 sentences, బట్ యాక్చువల్లీ విషయం ఏంటంటే అక్కడ రిలవెంట్గా ఉండాలి. యువర్ ఆన్సర్ మస్ట్ బి రిలవెంట్. So maybe 2, 3 sentences or even 4 sentences, but you need not write 10 or 20 sentences, not required. Second, ఏంటంటే the use of language, grammaticality. So proper use of tenses and pronouns and all other aspects, and even conventions of writing. So beginning each sentence with a capital and ending with a full stop, and using capitals wherever required. Avanni good. And coherence and cohesion, unity. So your answer must be united. There must be one theme, and use of cohesive devices or the linkers between the sentences. Okay, all these points are very, very important to score more and more marks in this section.
That's good. Now, you mean to say not only the comprehension, what is the grammatic sensibility
very
of this is also very in test. That's a good idea. That's a good thing that you have discussed this thing with teachers and students. And of course, I think grammar, a transformation of sentence. That's the 13th question where you need to. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Your observations
on
this.
So question number 13, it is based on transformation of sentences. So transformation means rewriting the sentence as directed. So here we don't alter the meaning. So the given sentence, and you have to change the structural characteristics. So I request you to look at the slide, and here a passage in which 6 segments are underlined. So it could be a text, maybe a story, maybe a short paragraph, maybe a narrative, it could be anything, and here 6 segments will be underlined, and the students have to focus on the underlined parts and they have to rewrite them as directed. And here there is a choice. There are 6 internal questions and you have to answer only 4. So how the distribution will be? Let us look at them. So these are the focus areas: voice, reported speech, degrees of comparison and conditionals. One slot, pure transformation, and then we are going to synthesis or joining sentences, where you can see the use of linkers, and not only but also as soon as, no sooner, to, and so that, and even using relative clauses and other clauses. Okay, so here very important is no change in meaning and change only in the structure. And the questions are not asked in the direct mode. That's very important. You don't expect a question like rewrite the sentence in passive voice, or rewrite the sentence in reported speech, or use the conditional. So these grammatical labels are not at all used.
Exactly.
It is internalized, and okay, it is given implicitly, and you have to understand. So if you understand the test item, our job is done half. Very, very important. and read the test items. Please look at the slide and read the test item and try to get the answers, okay, and identify the type of test item and attempt the answer. Let us have an example here. So, it is a small story. Once there lived a king. He was fond of strange things. He spent all the time on listening to stories and funny incidents. One day he made a strange announcement in the court. I'll give half of the kingdom to one who tells me the greatest lie. Many people tried. They couldn't convince the king. One day a man came to the court. He was carrying a big bag. Who are you? The king asked the young man. Oh great king, I gave you a bag of gold last month. May be given, sometimes they won't give. Anyway, we have to understand the test item. And the king asked the young man. So again it is reported speech, but the label is not at all used. And number 4 you have to begin with you, and number 5 you have to begin with no other, and number 6 special instruction is given. Combine the 2 sentences using not only and but also. Now the first one, once there lived a king. He was fond of strange things. The instruction is combine the 2 sentences using who. So you can answer, once there lived a king who was fond of strange things. That's all. And if you go to the second one, many people tried. They couldn't convince the king. So instruction is combine the 2 sentences. Here many people tried, but they couldn't convince the king. One possible answer. So here you have to understand the 2 sentences. They are opposite to each other. So you can say many people tried, but they couldn't convince the king, or although many people tried, they couldn't convince the king. It is also possible. So divergent answers are invited. They are all equally respected, and you really get marks. So don't stick on to one and only one answer. Many times, okay, but in some cases, particularly when you are working with reported speech or even voice, there the answers are restricted, but using linkers you have open choice. And please have a look at the slide. Right. Next one. Who are you? The king asked the young man. So the king asked the young man who he was. And go to next, number 4. I gave you a bag of gold last month. You have to begin with you. So internally it is passive construction. So you were given a bag of gold last month by me. And the 5th one, he is the cleverest man in the whole kingdom. You have to begin with no other. No other man in the whole kingdom is as clever as he. Okay. And the 6th one, the king gave him half of the kingdom. He gave him his daughter also. And we are using the structure not only but also. The king gave him not only half of the kingdom but also his daughter. So it's again another story. You can try this. Just focus on the underlined elements. It was a hot summer day. A crow was looking for water. She was very thirsty. I am very thirsty, the crow said to herself. She looked around. There was no water. At last she found a pot. She felt very happy. However, there was a little water in it. The crow got an idea. She brought some small stones. She dropped them one by one into the pot. Slowly water came up. The crow drank the water. She was very happy. And see the test items. The first one is given, combine the 2 sentences with because. And the second one, the crow said to herself that. And number 3, combine the 2 sentences. And number 4, you have to begin with finding. Number 5, you have to begin with some small stones. And the last one, combine the 2 sentences. And these are the possible answers. So the first one is, you are using because. A crow was looking for water because she was very thirsty. See the second one, I am very thirsty, the crow said to herself. The crow said to herself that she was very thirsty. And see the third one, she looked around, there was no water. She looked around, but there was no water. Or she looked around, yet there was no water. So the linker of opposite, okay, that should be used here. And again, have a look at the slide. And see the 4th one, she found a pot, she felt very happy. Finding a pot, she felt very happy. And she brought some small stones. So see, the last segment is brought to the initial position. That means the focus is on passive construction. Please see the slide. So some small stones were brought by her. And finally, the crow drank the water. She was very happy. So combining the 2 sentences, the crow drank the water and was very, very happy. So this is the layout, dear children. So when you are working with transformation of sentences, you please see that at least out of 6, 3 will be pure transformation, 3 will be synthesis. So there is a choice given to you. Out of 6, you have to answer only 4. So please feel comfortable with the test items and attempt the test items that are comfortable, that you can do well. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raghuram. And in fact, no, this is actually our pedagogy talks about. It's not only the labeling the grammatical item. It's the grammatical awareness, So you've been going to be tested, in this area, and to us in the form of transformation and the synthesis. So be aware of all those things, because all the grammar is going to be tested, but it is not directly labeled, Be sure about it, really, if you, again, it comes under this, how you have awareness over the language. This makes wonderful, but this is also a very important area to address upon, and I hope this is, once again we need to come with this, the 14th question, where this the major discourse that comes in in the part of the writing. Now I request Vasavi to discuss upon this point.
Yes, sir. Once again, after reading comprehension, major discourse is the part where you can get a lot of marks in one single test item.
Yeah.
Because it carries 10 marks.
Yes.
Major discourse carries 10 marks.
10 marks.
And if we follow some simple rules or some simple steps, most of the marks are easily got. Most of the marks are easily got here. So now let's go to the slide and see what we can do with this major discourse. Major discourse, as we already discussed, it is the test item that carries the highest marks. And with some diligence, if we are a little bit diligent, a little bit careful, as Irshad was mentioning, even in this section, 7 to 8 marks or even 9 marks can be easily achieved, easily scored. Yeah. Then when we see the scheme of these discourses, we have 11 major discourses prescribed in our text. 6 are there in group group A, and 5 are there in group B. So these list of discourses you can find in your textbook in the appendix 2. In last pages you have appendix 1 and 2. In appendix 2 there is the list of these discourses. You can go through them. And in question paper,
in the
yeah, in textbook, yes, sir. And in that question paper you will be given 2 discourses, one from group A and one from group B, and you have to answer only one out of these 2. So in fact the choice is more than 50% here. So this is also one of the most favorable point for you. You can practice the discourses which you are comfortable with, which you can divide into specific points, and you can put it on the paper with a greater clarity that you may select. So can we go to next slide? Yeah. So we'll see what are the group A discourses once: story and narrative, conversation, description, drama or play script, interview, choreography script. These discourses come under group A. So you will be getting 1 out of these 6 discourses. Next slide, please. These are the 5 discourses under group B: biography, essay, letter, report or news report, speech script. And you will be getting 1 discourse from out of these 5. And you have a choice to write either that one or this one. So all these discourses have certain indicators basing on which marks are allotted. So certain indicators, like as Raghuram sir was mentioning, relevance to context and sequencing of ideas, as Mangareddy sir was mentioning, these certain things are common to all the discourses, and conventions of writing, following the conventions of writing.
Yes.
We'll see what are the
Grammaticality.
Yeah, grammaticality. These are common to all the discourses.
Yeah.
So let us see what are the common indicators for almost all the discourses. See, relevancy to the given context. As sir was mentioning, when the question is asked about a point, you should not wander away from the point. You should stick on to whatever arguments or whatever logic, whatever information, whatever support you are giving. It should be relevant to the context. And then once you stick to the context, then you can make some rough work. You can put on all your ideas in the form of a concept map or a table in rough work. And then once you are confident that you have sufficient number of ideas, you can put them in sequence, because sequence is the aspect that gives sense to the discourse, any discourse.
That is thematically linked.
Yeah, that is thematically linked, and that gives sense, that presents the discourse in a neat way, in a comprehensible way.
Yeah.
And then And when you do these two things, maintaining coherence will be done. And this, for maintaining this coherence, we have some linkers, and when you see it as a text, you have some cohesive devices, and that continuity should be there. And then when you use these appropriate cohesive devices, discourse markers, these things, this cohesion is maintained. Here we will observe the difference between these two. First, having a proper sequence of ideas. Sometimes you will have the sequence of ideas, but they are not properly linked. So these cohesive devices will help in proper linking, and then the overall coherence is maintained. And then of course appropriate conventions of writing, including spellings. Spellings are not to be disrespected. Spellings are also important, because sometimes a single change in letter changes the entire meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you are in class 10th, you are not anymore at liberty to write grammatically or follow wrong conventions of writing. No.
Even misspelled words.
In class 10,
Yeah.
you are expected to maintain proper
Yeah.
conventions of writing, including
Right.
spelling. So now we will focus on some important discourses. Conversation. So what is expected in conversation? We have already discussed the points which are common to all the discourses, the indicators which are common to all the discourses, like relevance to context, conventions of writing, sequence of ideas. Apart from this, every discourse will have certain discourse specific features. These will be specific to this particular discourse, because when you see conversation, here you can see conversation. In conversation, you are expected to write dialogues with 10 to 12 exchanges. That is, two persons having 10 to 12 exchanges. A lot more or a lot less should be avoided. It should not be like in 5 or 6 sentences, in 5 or 6 dialogues, or it should not go beyond 15, 20, 25. Both will attract deduction in marks. So dialogues, the appropriate length is 10 to 12 exchanges. Then you have to the conversation should be sustained with certain social norms, like I agree, yes, sure, I'll do it, please
Some
do
discourse
it.
markers that should be put,
Yeah,
no?
social norms, appropriate to social
yeah,
norms.
yeah.
That is to whom you are speaking. If you are addressing your father, how you should speak.
Yeah.
If you are addressing your teacher, if the
The
conversation
social
between
context is
social
demanded.
context.
Yeah.
That social norms, where the way we speak with our friends is not similar
Yes,
to the way we speak
yes,
with our
yes,
teachers.
that's true.
So that such social norms should be maintained. And other points to consider are how you are opening a conversation. We will follow certain rules for opening a conversation, wishing, greeting, and we also have interview that we'll discuss, that we'll be discussing a little later. But in conversation, information should be exchanged from both the sides.
Good.
Opinions, ideas, information, that
Right.
exchange will be there from both the sides. And one more thing, this conversation, whatever topic is given, it should be the conversation should be relevant, or that topic should be focused, not wandering away from the topic. That is, we start somewhere and end somewhere, we go helter-skelter. That should not be done. And also a proper conclusion is expected, of course. These are expected in conversation. And next slide. And now, what else is expected in description? Apart from the common indicators we have discussed before, these points are expected from description. Details and vivid images of persons, objects, events being described. Whenever you are describing something, the person who is reading should see it in front of his eyes. Your vivid images should be such vivid, clear details, like what color, what height. If you are describing a person, how does he look like? What are the major aspects of? And then also the description should have variety of sentence forms. Like it should not be like it is red in color, it is so and so, it is so. Variety of sentence form should be introduced. And also personal reflection should be there. How you feel about that person, object or event, that should be there. Next slide. And in interview, proper introduction and beginning. And here in interview, question should be built on the responses. You pose a question to the person you are taking an interview, and the next question should be built on the response given to you. And also here you are the one who are giving the question and you are giving the responses. So the answers should be apt, the responses should be apt to the questions. These are the indicators you will be given marks for. Next.
That's good.
Yeah.
Still, do you have a choreography script? No,
Yeah,
you want,
choreography.
okay, good.
Yeah. So in choreography script, we have preliminaries like title, location, characters, and main theme, stanza-wise themes, scene-wise sequence of actions. For every one of these things, certain marks are allotted. So you should take care that your answers include all these things. Next, when you see group B discourses, usually you will be getting biography. Details of the person should be there.
Right.
Interpretation of data and drawing inferences, reflections, anecdotes, point of view. Next. Then essay, title. Thesis statement is very important in essay. That is what you are writing the essay about. And also each paragraph should have one main idea and supporting details. Next. Later, of course, you all know appropriate format, layout and conventions, and persuasive language is necessary for an effective letter. Right. And of course, news report, appropriate headline, last sentence giving the details, the who, when, where, why, sorry, lead sentence. When, where, why, what things have happened. And one more thing you have to observe, reported speech and passive voice are to be used in news report and report. Point of view is also important. Right.
Yes. Still, do you have anything, because it's 11 o'clock, actually, my dear friends in the field, because you are very eager to ask some questions to the panelists. I hope and it's open for you. The phone is, I think one call is ready for that. No, okay. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. This is Praveen Kumar speaking.
Good morning, Rajendra. Where are you speaking from?
Praveen Kumar, sir. My name is Praveen Kumar from Hyderabad.
Yeah, please, Praveen. What's your, query? Can you just air it, please?
So that entire part is very clear, sir.
Yes.
But as far as question paper is concerned.
Yes, please.
Hello?
Go on.
So I have a little bit of doubt, sir, whether earlier so the paper we used to have that editing the error from that reading a textbook.
Yeah.
So it is not given any clarity that that editing the error can be expected to come from either reading A, B or C. And one more thing, sir, even device directed is also not given. Students are very much worried about it. So even in that blueprint also it is not given, sir. So little bit confusion over this. And so students are more worried about that. So what area? So anyhow, reading B is coming from reading B is nothing but poem, sir. So we can't expect that device directed from that reading B.
Okay.
And also something like that. So is there any clarity, sir, that device directed as well as that editing the error coming from that either reading A, reading B or reading C?
It's good, Praveen. Your two queries have been taken up.
I'm asking, sir. I'm a teacher in
It's okay, Praveen. Nice. No, guess I think Raghuram would address this problem. Yeah, Raghuram.
So reading, as far as editing is concerned, the passage from either A, B or C. But generally, poem is not taken into account as far as editing is concerned, because in poetry we hardly find any grammaticality.
Yeah, because there's beyond some grammar.
It's beyond
grammar sometimes.
What you can say, meta language. Beyond language.
Yes.
So the point is that it is not stated exactly from reading A. It could be from reading A, B or C. Okay. The special focus on editing, anyway, we are going to discuss very shortly. So it could be from A, B or C, clear. And what is the second one, sir?
Sir, I would like to add one.
Yeah, second one. Sure.
All the reading B's are not poems, sir. If you see, there are certain passages and lessons. In Dear Deported, reading B is the continuation of reading A. So from such texts, we can even take editing can be taken even from such B readings, because only 4 poems are there.
It's okay. The second question, Praveen, can you please repeat once again the second question that you have asked for? No. Praveen, are you on the line?
Dropped.
Cut. Okay, we can go on.
Okay, right. Yeah, please. Anybody is there on?
No.
Okay, no, yeah, we'll continue this. Actually, we have just finished this major discourses. I think 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 has done very comprehensive with that. Now we'll go to this in the 15th and 16th question, where and again the minor discourses are, and now the Raghuram takes care of this, and he's going to talk about these minor discourses, and that's the 15th and 16th question.
Yeah.
Yes, Raghuram.
Question number 14 is on major discourse, and 15 and 16 minor discourses. Question number 15 minor discourse from group A, that is message, notice and diary entry. Number 16 is minor discourse from group B, that is poster, invitation and profile. It is clear. The basic difference between major and minor discourses, the only thing, in major discourse we have scope for creative use of language, whereas in minor discourse presentation in crispy way. Brevity is very important. So for minor discourses the word limit is nearly 50 to 60 words. You can go plus or minus 5 or 10 words, that's not a big issue, but what is given and what the question demands, that's very important. So it should be short and simple as far as minor discourse is concerned. Second very important thing is every minor discourse has certain features, particularly layout, that is very important, and you can see, please have a look at the slide. Right. So here notice, we all know that in group A message, notice and diary entry, and you can see first one message, and so what do we see in message? It is presenting relevant ideas in context and maintaining brevity, very important, and using appropriate language to the context and using well formed sentences and structures and maintaining conventions of writing, that is it includes punctuation and capitalization, and there is a format. In message we will mention date and time and salutation and information and instruction, very important. So what is information and what is the instruction? Maybe one or two sentences each and subscription ending. So coming to notice and showing the context, and again using appropriate format and layout and design, and who is the issuing authority, date and a formal beginning like it is informed that and all are requested to, and using persuasive language and organization using well formed construction. And coming to diary entry, so diary entry is purely personal one. So as far as message and notice, they are expected readers, but actually as far as diary entry is concerned, you are the writer and you are the reader. So diary is nothing but our reflection. So some people say dear diary, is it really required? I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
So diary in which we reflect, we put down our ideas, that's all. Whatever we experiences we have, just we put them down. Please look at the slide. So in diary entry, what would be the layout, and you can see just a date and day, and using expression of personal reflection. So two issues, incident, what is it about, and your reflections, and using language appropriate to the mood, and self criticism and future plans could be possible. So generally in diary entry, what do we do? If you have come across, for example, imagine you have witnessed okay, the brave Potter, you can see. So you saw the brave Potter riding at a horse, and he attacked the enemy camp. So you have witnessed. So imagine you are the witness and write a diary entry. What do we do? So just you put a date and time, and you say, okay, today the incident, what exactly happened, what we have really witnessed. So today I have seen the brave Potter, okay, the army general, and riding a horse, and with great speed, and he attacked the enemy, so and so, and your reflections.
Sorry, there's a call, Raghuram,
right.
And shall we receive it? Yes, please.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, my name is Nagendra.
Nagendra?
I'm from Anantapur.
Anantapur.
Yes, sir.
Oh God.
I'm
Okay.
asking a question.
Yeah, please go on.
Sir, how to present the answers in this examination?
How do?
Present the answers.
Answers. Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, actually we have been talking only that. No, I think you must have understood. But anyhow, I think, and can anybody please among this,
Yes.
how to present answer? Isha, are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
The first thing, it's really good to see that Andhra Pradesh students calling up to know about our pattern. This shows how English is going on in the entire state. Coming to the answer, anywhere, wherever you are on this globe, it's simple. Read the question properly, relate it to the context, what sort of question it is, and then how you have to answer depending on the question. I hope your pattern is on the same lines of Telangana, but that's quite simple. Beta, read the question, understand the context, what you need to write. Is that extrapolative or inferential? Depending on that, it was clearly explained that you have put in.
I need to understand the question first.
Yeah, question first, and make sure that you write to the point, and at the same time write little neatly, and put your answer. Be confident about your answer. That's it. Thank you very much.
That's good, good. Another call, and yes, please. We got another call. Yes.
Speak out. You have a call.
It got snapped, it seems. No. Hello.
Little bit louder. Ask him to be louder.
We can't hear you. Please, can be a bit louder, please.
Disconnected.
Okay,
Let's
got
carry on.
disconnected now. Raghuram, it's over to you.
So please see the slide.
Diary.
So when you are coming to diary entry, our personal reflections of the incident. So we have just, we were talking about the 𝗵𝗺 incident, and at least in two to three sentences you have to present the incident, and so what you have witnessed and your reflections, and how did you feel. So for example, if you take that particular context, you can say I am very happy, okay, he's really a great very brave person, and these people are very important for the country. So this one example I am telling you. So in diary entry, the incident as well as the reflections. And coming to the next slide. Right. So under minor discourses group B, we have poster, and the features of poster is showing the context and occasion and purpose, and using appropriate format and layout and design, and maintaining brevity and using rhythmic language. In poster, we'll find very little language and more illustrations, and even the catchy sentences. Okay, and you know, for example, like slogans like each one teach one. Okay, okay, save trees and save life. Small examples I am telling you. So you can use some slogans or even bullet points, etc. in a poster, and issuing authority is very important, and using well-formed constructions. Coming to invitation, so there are two types of invitations. One is personalized invitation as well as open invitation. Right, when you are coming to open invitation and showing the context, what is the occasion, and using appropriate format and layout and design, maybe the chief guest and guest of honor and programs and vote of thanks, and maintaining brevity and using persuasive language, and using well-formed construction. And finally profile. So profile is already it is a part of biographical sketch. So in profile we'll give profession specific information, and you have to present in a form of a paragraph. So generally people have some doubt and how profile should be presented. Should it be in the form of a table or in the paragraph? So vice versa. If it is given in the table, you have to present in the paragraph. If it is given in the paragraph, you have to present in table. This I think we have already discussed earlier. So the features of profile is very important. One is brevity, and please see the slide, and giving all necessary details of the person related to the profession, and presenting relevant ideas and presentation and organizing of the data, and using appropriate cohesive devices, and using well-formed sentences. These are very important when you are writing profile in the form of a paragraph. So when you are presenting in the form of a table, okay, we all know the information given and points to be considered and the details. That is another strategy. But many cases you can see, please try to understand the question. If it is given in the form of a table, we have to understand, we have to write the profile in the form of a paragraph.
Yeah, okay. There is another call, and please go on.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I am from 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 𝗚𝗧 English School student, sir. I have small doubt, sir.
Yes, please.
On behalf of our school students, sir, in pre-final exam, sir, in our district, Part A and Part B has not given together, sir. So we are requesting you to, sir, in annual exam, please give
Okay.
the paper A and B collectively, sir, togetherly, sir, so that students can make the paper easily, sir. Part B is very difficult for the students, sir.
That's good. Actually, it is being instructed that the Part A and Part B should be given at a time. You know, it's not something, you know, because we instructed once again to go with this, and don't worry about this, and we'll make it, you know, because and the instructions are to be given to the DOs and authorities, and it is in English, you know, Part A and Part B should be given together. It's okay, right? Yes, another call. Yes, please. Yes. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good
Sir,
morning.
we have a doubt regarding the pie diagram, which was introduced this year only. And children are struggling how to attempt the answers because the calculations are given. So
Okay.
how to present that? We need to know about the pie diagram, sir. Answers.
It's okay. I think, you know, this any diagram that should be interpreted, and actually this idea is that, you know, interpreting a diagram. Still, you wanted to have anything. I think, and Irshad would speak upon that. Irshad.
Yes, sir. We know. We want to know about that because children are struggling to attend the answers.
It's okay.
Let-
Yeah.
Yeah, that is understandable. First thing, first is it's a new topic. I think that's why children are getting a little worried. But let me tell you, as a teacher, please give them that sort of confidence. Let me tell you, pie chart is a circular chart in which there will be the different parts. And remember, it will be for 100%. In a sense, it will be clearly mentioned. I have given the example also. Hope that would help. So you have to check what are the different parts over there, how much percentage it has been calculated to. Overall, it will be for 100%. And let's say if it is 5, one could be 25, one could be 20, 15 as such, but overall it will be 100. And the question will be related to that. So there is nothing difficulty in that. The more they practice, the better they will become. So give them few more examples. Even at the intermediate level, they are trying that. And it's there in the textbook. In 7th, 6th, 8th textbook also, we have few topics on that. Yes, pi diagram class 7. So if they can practice, that will be easy for them. And questions will be up to, confined to the pie chart only.
It's only the picture,
one.
You
Yes.
know, that is
The
only
picture
data interpretation is the only the idea.
What does that, as we have seen drama, so many percentage, or how many students like to go to France if it is, their favorite ice cream as such in a pie chart, how many percent of students like strawberry or such, that's it.
Whatever the diagram is, and only the data is very important to answer the questions, and you please make the teachers, you make the children to understand data where, because we have different kind of pictures that we have in the piegram, histogram kind of thing, and bargram. So all these are the different interpretations of the data, but you must make them to understand how the data can be drawn and interpret themselves. That's the only one thing. Of course, so we have a table also. Right, good. And as can you continue, Raghuram?
So the point is that it is one way of reading, that's all. Reading a text and reading a non-linguistic presentation, and how we make sense of it, and how we understand the questions, and how we respond to the questions. That's very important.
That's good. Now shall we switch over to this? We have been talking about the text dependent. Now we are going to be text independent. In fact, we have a big slot where our pedagogy has decided to go with this text independent. So now I request to speak something on this, reading a text independent poem or the passage and how it can be addressed. I think Irshad can talk about on this part. And anybody, if the questions ready, please come with your questions.
Yes.
We have hardly the 15 minutes more. Please come with, and we are ready to. We are trying to answer for those things, and be ready with this. Yes, Irshad.
Yes, sir. So first and foremost, once again, I would like to reiterate, because there is a huge hue and cry about part A and part B. From this platform, I would like to clear the air. Both part A and part B has to be given together at the beginning of the question paper only. So I request, as sir suggested, you will get confirmation from the EOS also, but from this platform we are making sure both has to be given. Even we have cleared the air during the pre-final one. A few of them were worried about official things, but let me tell you, there are few proceedings where people will miss one or the other thing. Even constitution, we have certain articles. In the same way, don't take English along with other subjects. For English, part A and part B will be given together. And coming to that part B, first of all, once again I would like to reiterate, as we have been talking, it could be a poem or passage, not necessarily poem, because we have seen almost all in the pre-finals, most of the question papers, you can say almost all question papers, there is a poem. But don't get into that, that there will be only a poem, and there could also be a independent text which can be asked in the examination, and wherein you are supposed to answer them. So let me give this example. So similarly, as a poem, this is also comes under comprehension. So you need to read the poem. Okay, may I have the slide, please?
Yes, please.
Yes. So this is the same poem. Who has seen the wind? Neither I nor you. But when the leaves hang trembling, the wind is passing through. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. So this is one of small poems given in your model paper, and certain questions will be asked. Okay, so one or two. One question could be a factual, and some related to the literary devices. Here is a question, but when the leaves hang trembling, the literary device used here. So it could be simile or personification or metaphor. So one question, most probably, not every time, there is a chance of asking on literary device. And then the tone, you need to understand the tone of the poem and theme of the poem, poet's tone, and then remaining related to the question, and there will be one synonym kind of thing. So this is almost the same, whereas these are the answers personification series. So you all know that. So at the same time, I may have the slide please. There is a chance of asking text also. So we have a caller.
There is a caller. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you talking from?
Srinu Nalgonda.
Yes, please.
How to write major discourse to get full marks, sir?
Okay.
And editing also explain, sir.
Editing comes in the next slot, because the Raghuram is going to talk
Editing
about.
also explain, sir.
Yes. Raghuram is going to talk on editing the next moment, and you're talking about the first one is how to get full marks, because every time we are ready to get the full marks, we have been talking about that only. But I think the next moment we are going to address the editing part. Okay. Yes, Irshad, finish it off, and because we have.
So we are
less time, because
yes.
we have only 10 minutes ahead.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
It's not just poems, but be ready with text also independent. I hope you'll be able to do that similarly as reading competition. Over to you, sir.
That's good. But now, because as Srinu asked from this Nalgonda, and because I request Guram to discuss on editing, it's of course a very important area where we need to. And yet another call, and we have got a call, please, and go ahead. Who is speaking? From where? Yes, please. Yeah, got cut now. Now, Raghuram on editing.
Right. So it seems most of us are worried about editing.
Yes.
It is just like visiting a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, when do you visit a doctor? Whenever we have a problem, we visit a doctor. So editing is what? Coming to the acceptable version of language, of a sentence or any expression.
Yes.
So broadly speaking, there are just 4 categories under editing. One is missing word, word order, missing word, extra word, wrong word. A broad category. You please have a look at the slide. Please,
technically
slide,
we have
please.
other this thing, but
Yeah,
generally we talk about
the broader umbrella is
yeah.
word order, missing word,
Yeah,
extra
just a minute,
word, and wrong
Raghuram,
word.
and another call. And yes, please.
It's dropped.
Yeah, it is dropped, it seems. Come on, continue.
Please look at the slide.
Yeah.
Right. So question number 22 to 27 under editing. So what it could be, in the section a passage is given from one of the reading texts. We have already said A, B, or even C, and 5 sentences are numbered, and each of the numbered sentence has an error. So each number sentence will have one and only one error. Okay, don't expect more than one error in a sentence. So the students have to identify the error in each of the numbered sentences, and they have to correct them, and they have to rewrite them in the space provided, and the complete sentences are to be written. This is very important. Sometimes they write only the corrected part. No, we have to write the complete sentence in this. So enough space will be provided, don't worry. So we have to write the complete sentences.
Yeah.
So how it could be, please have a look at the slide. Right. So usually the first sentence is not numbered, and it functions as the guiding sentence. It helps us in identifying the features of the passage, maybe tense, person, and etc. And sometimes there may be a shift also from present to past. It's possible. And here are few broad areas that come under editing. We have already stated word order, missing word, extra word, wrong word. Okay. Apart from that, you can see the tense. So which is the guiding sentence. The first sentence helps us to identify the tense. So generally the total passage maintains unity of time. Sometimes there may be shift. Okay, many times the same tense has to be followed, and the checklist we have already stated. And now word order. So you can see the word order. The subject is followed by the verb. Okay, just if you read the sentence, you will be able to find the word order. That's all. Okay, coming to the missing or excess words and what they could be. And generally missing words are determinants or articles and prepositions and even demonstrators, stative words, and a few points. This rule, adjectives, the quality words that come before a noun, and adverbs. So the words that qualify the verbs, okay, the actions, they come generally after the verb, after the action word, or maybe before adjectives. Okay, and there is some order of adjectives like opinion, size, shape, age, color, nationality, and material. A small example is given to you. right, there is a chance to have more than one correct answer, because here in this system we invite divergent responses. We just cannot say that one sentence or one question will have one and only one right answer. No, many times there are more than one right answers as possible. Right, have a look at the slide. So read the passage 2 to 3 times by paying attention to the numbered sentences. Okay, one practice is given. This is an extract from Unit 3, The Journey. I looked at father's bare feet, and never having worn shoes, his feet had developed cracks and somehow resembled those of elephant. I noticed this for the first time. I haven't noticed that the road was uneven. I didn't have to because I was wearing a pair of hunting boots. I checked my wallet and saw I still around had 40 rupees with me. A pair of canvas shoes would cost around ₹12, and the remaining amount would be enough to me to get to 𝗵𝗍𝗧. So see the answers here. Number 22, never having worn shoes, his feet had developed cracks and somehow resembled those of an elephant. So missing word is there. So number 23, you can write I hadn't noticed or I did not notice.
Yeah.
So either is possible, that the road was uneven. Go to 24, I didn't have to because I was wearing a pair of hunting boots. So pair of hunting boots, the agreement should be here. I checked my wallet and saw I still had around ₹40 rupees with me. So here you can see the previously I checked my wallet and saw I still around had. So word order. So the last one, a pair of canvas shoes would cost around ₹12, and the remaining amount would be enough for me to get to 𝗵𝗍𝗧. So if you see this, the broad areas are word order, missing word, extra word, wrong word. And again, if you are looking further, you have to check the tense and the use of determiners, or any words are missing. Maybe determiners are they are considered missing words, and maybe prepositions are even wrong word. So read the sentences at least 1 to 2 times, and then you will be able to find the answer. That's all.
Thank you. There is a call from the field. Come on. Hello. Yeah, may I know who is speaking? Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, speak up.
Hello, sir. Sir, this is 𝗬𝗦𝗔𝗧 from 𝗂𝗃nagar district.
Okay.
So, sir, regarding to the question number 13,
Yeah.
sir, we are asking the question. Rewrite the sentence beginning with. This is a lot of confusion to the student.
Yeah.
Why don't we ask direct to change the voice or change the speech or like that?
No, actually, what actually our pedagogy talks about. This is a very important thing where the grammatical labels, grammatical labels are not important where the language should be understood. This is our idea, in fact, because that is the reason why these questions are being asked. This is understanding the language not in a discreted kind of thing, understanding the language in a comprehensive manner. That's the idea, because we should not deviate at this time. This is not something and talking about the grammar or the grammatical rules, So that is the reason the questions are being asked. Again, the same thing is in the classroom also we must carry it out. That is when it is done, and I think this question may not raise now. Okay, I think you have understood this, and we are not supposed to deviate our pedagogical sensibility. Okay, thank you. And Raghuram, and I think the Vasavi is something, she's going to talk about the closed test, because we are running out of the time and we need to finish all the items that we have planned upon. I think, Vasavi, can you go with this, your closed test? Where
yeah, closed test is fill in the blanks with 2 options, multiple choice. It's like selecting an option and fill blanks to make proper sentences. So these are the items tested: word form, tense, determiners, pronouns, phrasal verbs, prepositions. These items will be considered in closed test.
Good, that's only the thing, that's thing, but finally 32 to 36 questions where it talks about this vocabulary, elements of vocabulary. That is also very important, where finally we need to, this Raghuram is going to say something upon this, and after that still we are open for calls. And if in 1 or 2 calls also we have still only 2 minutes, Raghuram, you have to finish it off.
So when you are looking into the elements of vocabulary, the broad areas are, please have a look at the slide. Right. So these are the very broad areas, and the focus will be on the meaning, both synonyms and antonyms, opposite words and one word substitutes, and correct use of words, and even collocations or word association, and the correct use of the words, and could be derivatives, and focus on pronunciation like homophones or words that are pronounced similarly, and again focus on spelling. So let's have a practice here. 1 second, this one. So if you take this, She was amazing, said Nick. She taught me how to surf and I was terrified. So please focus on the underlined parts. Number 32 is the word is underlined and at first, but once I got up there, it felt absolutely fantastic and I caught some waves pretty well. Nick quickly learned how to do the 360-degree spins on his board, a feat that got him on the cover of the Surfer magazine within 48 hours. No one has ever done this in the history of surfing, he said, but I have a very short center of gravity. So here, if you see the questions, and the first one is write the correct spelling of the underlined word. So focus on spelling, and you can see the next one, write the meaning of the underlined word. So here you can have many right answers, you know, that's and 34, write the word which is opposite in meaning of the underlined word, and 35, replace the word with the correct word and which is pronounced similarly. 36 is replace the underlined word with the correct one. So these are the possible answers. For number 32, the focus is on spelling, so it is terrified, and 33, the meaning, it could be completely or even totally, and opposite word slowly, and feet, it should be F-E-A-T. So we are focusing on pronunciation, and the last one is the right word. So low center of gravity, we generally say. So these are very broad areas that come under elements of vocabulary.
That's good. This is a final touch that you have given regarding the elements of vocabulary. I think for question number 1 to 36, and we have tried our best to analyze and put forward to you. In fact, what are all the things that we have talked about here is in your module, that is a handbook that you have with you, and still the handbook is on the SCERT website also. And this is the time where we need to again, reflect upon them, because the idea is that to face the examination. I think the teachers also should have the sensibility where it can be talked to the children and boost their confidence and boost their morale, and so that it would be a nice activity. Please, once again, I request all the teachers and the headmasters, and of course the children also, be confident and try to face the examinations with very positive kind of thing. And I hope, and if possible, again we come see you once again if possible. And thank you very much, and on behalf of you, I thank all 3 panelists, so that once again we'll come to you, and all the best, and have a great time, and all the best, and face the examination with a positive mode. Thank you very much. Have a great time ahead. Thank you.